Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I Think I Hate Movies, a podcast. I'm your co-host, John.
And I'm your co-host, Ray.
And we're here to talk about movies, but not in the same capacity that we have been. We're going to switch it up. We really haven't been watching too much lately that is noteworthy. But, I don't know, kind of gets tedious after a while. Just kind of, watching bad movies takes a toll on your
Psyche.
Yeah.
We need to spice it up a bit.
Yeah. So we're going to switch it up this week. And I realized that we never did an intro episode. We never introduced ourselves, really. So for this episode, we're going to do something different. We're going to do kind of like get to know your show hosts. And we'll have a little segment wherein we ask each other a couple questions each to kind of help color our perspectives and give you guys maybe a little more insight into how we think and watch movies. And perceive movies and stuff, and just get to know us a little better. Also, no news segment this week. Not much movie news. I just kind of skimmed though, but I didn't really see anything noteworthy. So, you want me to start off?
Sure.
I'll start off.
We'll take turns.
We'll go back and forth. You want
to
do that? Okay. Okay, so we're going to ask each other a couple questions and give ourselves a little bit of time to answer. And yeah, we'll do that. So, Ray, my first question to you is, what is your favorite movie genre and why? That's one question. Quantify that.
I feel inclined to do the slashy thing that's usually done on this genre, because both of it are kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say sci-fi / fantasy.
Okay.
That's my favorite genre.
Okay.
It's because it's probably the one that has the most potential for something that I'd want to see in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not often fully taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it is, it's really bad.
Yeah. Or if it is, it's like you have like seminal series like Star Wars and Star Trek and
fine.
Lord of the Rings. Well, I'm just saying, like, they're established, so it's easier for something like that to be more interesting because the universe is deeper. But like you have something like a one shot, like I guess like E.T. or something, where it's like not a series of movies, it's just kind of one movie and they have to tell one whole story and build one universe in one movie. So it's like time is of the essence. So it's like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's harder for shorter movies or single movies to kind of get there.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, movies like that tend to be very good. Mm-hmm. If they do it successfully. But I mean, I guess that goes hand in hand. But
yeah.
Yeah, if they're able to do that, it's really amazing and definitely something that I would put in my favorite genre.
Mm-hmm. So you like it because it has potential?
Yes and no. I like symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like sci-fi and fantasy has the most symbolism in it a lot because it's not so concrete. And then it's also entirely fantasy, so it kind of creates another world, which is something I'm more interested in when I watch a movie. I don't want to watch something that's retelling a real happening. I'd rather watch a documentary in that case, or read an autobiography or something. Not an autobiography, a biography.
Yeah.
Autobiographies are fiction.
Yeah. I agree with that. That's like one of my favorite genres too. That's
what
why
is
I like.
yours, to volley the question? This
That's
doesn't
your-
count as my question.
Oh,
This is
okay.
a volume
Oh,
question.
okay.
It's optional.
All right. No, mine too, and kind of for the same reasons, because in a sci-fi universe or fantasy universe, there are no rules or establishments,
Mm-hmm.
and you're right. Like nothing is concrete, so you have more agency to take risks and it sounds stupid, but be fantastic and
Yeah.
do fantastic things, and like when you're writing or in a storytelling sense, I can appreciate a good metaphor for something as opposed to
Right.
a direct reference to something, where let me, give me a little more credit here. Let me kind of think and delve into this something that may or may not be there, and something that is below the surface. So I can appreciate that, and yeah, you can go nuts. There are no rules in fantasy, so.
I think that's part of another facet of it that I like or what I like of what I like. Whatever I'm trying to say is that spectrum. It's like I'm on both sides. I really like the opposite extremes where I like it where it's really fantasy, and then I also like it where it is really concrete with something I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to read or watch documentaries also of stuff that about history or about a person because I don't get them very well and I want to try to understand, so it's almost like the same appeal.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like I'm trying to figure something out.
Just the unknown.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Totally.
Oh, my turn.
Your turn.
So my first question for you was, what is your favorite movie and why?
Oh man.
Deep question.
Right off the bat, loaded. Okay, I take that question and I will raise you.
Oh.
My favorite movie? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Should I?
So well, no. That's
Okay.
a fine question. 'Cause
Okay.
It's totally subjective in that sense. My favorite movie that I've seen so far in my 29 years on this earth is probably The Empire Strikes Back,
Okay.
which is a lot of people's answer maybe. And it's interesting too because that depends on whether you've seen Star Wars, the original, and whether you've seen that whole series and what do you think about that whole series. So obviously I think very highly of that whole series, and I think The Empire Strikes Back, the dark middle chapter, is the best one, has the best reveal, plot twist of all time in any movie ever, that
But it
is
doesn't have
infamous.
fuzzy teddy bears.
Yeah, it doesn't have teddy bears. That's
Aw.
a good point. Yeah, that movie is like a mastercraft in a lot of things.
Mhm.
But like that's the thing, when you say favorite or best or greatest of all time or something, like you always have to. I feel like people have to quantify that answer.
Yeah, I'd have to cop out and pick a series.
Yeah,
One movie.
and so that's hard.
I would just say the Star Wars trilogy.
But I will raise you that question and say I will list 5 movies I believe are flawless. And when I say flawless, what I mean is a couple things. Well, it can mean a few things. It can mean that the movie, the sum of its parts
It's greater.
are like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, maybe not everything that makes up the movie is as good as it could be, but put together, it comes together beautifully or perfectly. And that can also mean just quite literally that, in my opinion, that each part is flawless, and it doesn't matter what the overall arc is, just like I can appreciate each aspect of the movie to a level that transcends the whole experience maybe, but either way, anyway. So I'll give you 5. I'll give you 5 movies that I believe are quote unquote flawless. And I guess those could be near quotes.
I think so.
I think Mad Max Fury Road is a flawless movie. I think Princess Mononoke is a flawless movie.
I'll cheers to that.
I think The Dark Knight by Chris Nolan is a flawless movie. I think Fargo is a flawless movie. And I think The Empire Strikes Back is a flawless movie. Those are movies I can watch anytime, any place, in any mood, anywhere, as many times possible till the end of time. Maybe that's what qualifies as flawless for me. Is like I can watch those anytime. Like they're timeless. So I don't know. But favorite of all time is probably Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, I'm sure you've all heard that answer before. Or The Room. I don't know. It depends that you catch me on. So my next question to you is, what is the first movie you remember seeing?
I've been watching movies since I was a wee little babby, and I have no idea. Really, I can tell you the first one that I became like creepily obsessed with, which was Fantasia. That was the one that, because when I was little I had crazy insomnia, and I used to climb down the stairs to the point where my mom had to put a little gate up at the top of the stairs to keep me from going down.
A baby gate for a baby?
Yeah.
For baby Ray?
Yeah, and then I had to crawl down the stairs, and I would fall asleep on the speakers after repeatedly rewinding it to either Night on Bald Mountain or the dinosaur sequence over and over again. To the point where I started wearing the tape through, and they were like hiding it from me and putting it on the highest shelves so they could get it so I wouldn't climb to it. And then also I remember Land Before Time with a bit of disdain, but that was another one for some reason. Probably because I thought it was like an expanded version of Fantasia. But yeah.
The backstory.
Those are probably the earliest movies I got really.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. First one.
I, like you, was also enamored with dinosaurs, so anything with dinosaurs I was all about. It doesn't matter what it was.
Yeah, dinosaurs were big with me.
They were literally big.
Yeah, they were.
Is that it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think that's the first. What was the first one you remember? Not my question. Another volley of a question.
It's an open discussion. Oh man, I'm gonna have to say Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That was the first movie you remember seeing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think I saw that before Star Wars.
You had a toddler? Were you a toddler?
Yeah, I was a baby-sized person.
I don't even think I saw Raiders when I was well, I was probably 4, if you count that as a toddler.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of being 4, so I don't count that as being a toddler. My toddler memories are the ones that are a bit fuzzy, and I'm like...
Well, I remember because, I mean, this is before I was cognizant of this, but now I know that when VHS first came out, it was made for rentals, more or less, because they were so expensive. I mean, they were like, I can't even remember, in like 1980s dollars, they were like $50, $60, $70, I believe.
A VHS tape?
Yeah, because the thing was, it was Tim Burton's Batman, which was the first like affordable VHS tape that was kind of designed and marketed for the public to buy, and that was like the introduction of like home video. I think it was like it was probably $20 in 1980s.
That's probably why my mom and dad were really mad about me touching that.
Yeah, probably, and they had the fancy collector's edition.
Yeah, they did. It came out like
that was probably
in the mid.
That was hundreds of dollars, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In 1980s dollars.
It came with an art book and a painting, so yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean, all the videos or the movies that I remember watching were all taped off of TV, or my dad had a dual deck VCR deck, and we would rent movies, and he would copy them. So we had this really lo-fi version of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it would have intercuts of like a half a second of a commercial, and then it would cut, and then it would go back, and you'd see the end of the commercial, and then it'd go back to so like that was the very first movie I remember seeing, and I watched a lot of really violent movies when I was a kid.
I did too, but I didn't watch Raiders. I would have remembered it more. I think
I distinctly remember the scene with him in the streets and the sword fighter, flinging his sword around, and then he takes his gun out and shoots him, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. And yeah, that didn't really color my perspective on movies now, but I distinctly remember that. So yeah, I remember Raiders, Star Wars, the first Alien. I mean, this is all like I'm like 7 or 8, maybe 6 or 7. Terminator, RoboCop, like I just like the most violent, like grotesque movies.
Mom liked a lot of Action Man movies, so I would watch those. But she liked the ones with like the cute guys to her, so we would watch a lot of those. And there were lots of Mel Gibson and lots of Kevin Costner, and I'm smashing my face right now.
Yeah.
But because I don't really like those at all anymore. But maybe that's because they're kind of all the same.
Keyword Kevin Costner.
Hint, hint, nudge,
Hint,
nudge.
nudge, nudge. But yeah.
I remember a lot of taped movies too, because I figured that out really quick for taping stuff off the TV. So that kind of shows what I like. Because I remember the first thing I taped was Willow off the TV.
Everybody's got to start somewhere.
And then Gremlins. Gremlins was another one that was taped.
Oh, Gremlins is so good.
And then all the Ewok movies. I think I liked George Lucas as a little kid.
Those are bad movies. Anyway, what is your question? Moving on.
My next question?
Moving on.
Is it my turn already?
Yeah, because you volleyed.
Oh, that's right. Alright. So, in your opinion, which movie has the best effects, either special or practical? Or whatever other types of effects there are.
The best effects. Oh man, that is a tough question. One that recently comes to mind is Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac and oh god,
Alicia Vikander?
Alicia Vikander, yeah. That had really good effects. Oh my gosh, you got me. So here's the thing, like, it sucks because maybe I'm jaded and cynical at this point, but I always, whenever there's any CGI now in any movie, I always have that like get off my lawn moment where I feel like
he
an
really
old man. I'm just like, oh, like that looks so bad, like.
I'm waiting for him to throw a can at the TV. A cane.
A can.
A can at the TV would work too.
Yeah.
A can would be more accessible.
There are a lot of cans, usually, when we watch movies. Yeah, but it's like, I get why CGI is needed in movies, and I get where practical effects are more conducive to the type of movie that someone's making, or more conducive to like the environment or the overall setting. But CGI, like good CGI, will not distract or detach you from the movie. And I think something like Christopher Nolan's Batman series has good CGI. Like, he uses it when he needs to, when there's something that is so outrageous that it's like doing a practical effect is either dangerous to someone, to the actors, or the staff, or the crew, or it's just impossible. So, for instance, he, like in the last Dark Knight Rises, the last Batman movie he made, he introduces the Bat, which is a hovercraft helicopter type vehicle, and he actually built it. So they built a 1-to-1 scale Bat vehicle that kind of, they carried around on wires and stuff and shot it when they needed like an interior shot or a close-up or something. And then when there was an action scene with the Bat, they obviously used a CGI model and flew it around the city and all that stuff and did all the bangs and explosions and all that stuff. So like that's something where I can appreciate a mix of like practical and computer generated effects. But then you look at something like I love The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
I was waiting for you to mention a Goop movie.
Amazing. Amazing practical
Goop.
effects. Yeah, the best Goop in Hollywood. And that one is like, it's interesting too because that movie got remade, so you can contrast that and say, well, look at the practical effects in, oh God, was it 80 or 82, something like that?
82, I think.
And it's like they look, they look phony, they look goofy, but they fit in the story and the context of the movie. It's like an alien that is taking over people's bodies and can take over anybody's body and takes the form of like this like eldritch horror Lovecraftian kind of body horror monstrosity. Like, so when in the context of that, it's like, yeah, they can do anything they want, and they built these crazy props and all this stuff. So Roy Arbogast is one of them because he worked on Star Wars and The Thing. I think he did Close Encounters too.
What in Close Encounters?
There's aliens and ships.
Yeah, there's ships, and there's like a brief silhouette of an alien. It's like a really...
Well, more the ships, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, so my favorite of all time. I don't know. That's a tough question. Any visual effect that works within the context of the movie and isn't so distracting that it takes you out of the immersion of the movie. So, but I guess I have a spot for old visual effects and old horror movies and action movies that use squibs. I like to see real blood.
Squibs aren't real blood.
Real fake blood instead of CGI
Okay,
blood. Because that's the thing. It's like that's something you can do. That's not hard. Just get a squib. Get a little pocket full of corn syrup instead of going on the computer and adding this corny looking.
That was one of the things, I hate to bring this show up, but
Oh, no.
House MD, there was a behind the scenes tour and they have a whole room of barrels and barrels of fake blood, mucus, and vomit. And I was
awesome.
just like, I want this room.
That's amazing.
They're like, here's intestines, you want intestines?
Yeah. Yeah, make corn syrup come out of your body, don't put it in your body. So, yeah, tough question. I don't know. My turn?
Yes.
My turn. Oh, jeez. Last question to you is... Oh, we'll go back. Whoops. Did you volley this? I don't remember. Anyway, my last question to you was name at least one quote-unquote flawless movie.
Right.
That
You went on your story
Yeah.
before you asked that question, but you didn't ask that question.
Okay, yeah. So, and like I said, you can quantify this as to your own, cater it to your own terms or standards.
I would never call a movie flawless. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you're really close to Princess Mononoke.
Mm-hmm.
Or Spirited Away, too. Both of those are, like, perfectly done films,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it always can be improved. I've got that George Lucas tick thing. Where it's like whenever I look at something, I'm like, I could put something in there.
You're a tweaker?
I'm a tweaker.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You need your fix.
Yeah. It's a weird addiction problem.
I know. I used to smoke dust, too. Kidding.
So yeah, it's hard for me to say anything is particularly flawless. There are films that I absolutely adore, but they have really obvious flaws. But I'm able to overlook that because I like the story or the characters so much. But at the same time, I'm also able to recognize it and be like, this could have been so much better.
Oh man, I'm gonna get unconventional. I'm gonna ask another question then.
Breaking the rules.
Yeah. Okay. Our new rules that we just made up today. So, in lieu of that question, so what is your favorite aspect of a movie? Like, what is your favorite? When you throw all the ingredients in to make a movie, what is your favorite ingredient? Do you like characters? Do you like setting? Do you like...
It could be any of those things in
visual
particular.
effects?
As long as I walked away feeling like it was worth watching and I got something out of it. I know that sounds so subjective.
Yeah,
but
no, that's fine.
In particular, I really like to feel like I learned something, or it soothes some deep intrinsic part of me that's hurting somehow. I don't know how to describe that. Like if it something
like if it's maybe more meditative or
yeah,
or therapeutic maybe to some extent.
Yeah, I would say that. It's consoling in a way that I didn't necessarily get perhaps.
So like if a movie has like a powerful message or feeling maybe, like that can uplift a bad movie.
It could be either of those, yeah. But also realistic characters, because that is something that does put me out of the movie so fast. Is if the characters aren't realistic and they aren't developed, that can put me out of a movie, even a good movie, so fast, unless they're clearly symbols, which is another thing. A lot of people have mixed feelings about that. I'm okay with characters as symbols if it's like consistently all the characters.
All the characters, right?
Yeah,
right.
I'm fine with that. But if it's like, there's even if there's just one character that's a very distinct symbol more than a character, as long as it's like to the point where you realize that they really never were supposed to be a character. Yeah. I feel like I'm talking really conceptually here because I can't think of a movie that does this off the top of my head.
Right.
But yeah, if there was like.
I know.
We just watched Devil, but no.
No, we did. I mean, we did, but I sort of did.
That was a movie so horrible we can't even do it on the pod.
I was on my phone the whole time, so I don't know. Whatever. No, I know what you mean though. Like, if you're going to spend the time to develop realistic characters, having one that is kind of more ethereal, then that doesn't really fit all the time.
As long as it doesn't feel like a stereotype. If it starts feeling like a stereotype, that's just as off-putting as undeveloped characters, where it's like, nope. Yeah.
So that's it for questions, except for now I just thought of another question.
I think I still have it.
You have one left?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which director do you have the most faith in, dude?
I don't know, dude. That's a good question. Most faith in.
Who do you believe in?
Oh, I don't believe in anybody.
Who's your director deity?
Ugh, that's a different question. Who do I worship? I have the most faith that someone like Quentin Tarantino will always do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and people will give him money. He's one of those directors that kind of came from a humble start. I think he wrote Natural Born Killers, which was really good. I like that movie. And then after that, he kind of started doing his own thing, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. But he's been really consistent, and his films always have a through line aesthetic and a feel to them that they're his. You can always tell when you're watching a Quentin Tarantino movie that it's Quentin Tarantino. And I don't know, have faith in a director. That's kind of a weird thing, but I do. I have faith that his movies will always be consistent and something that he wants to do. I don't feel like he's ever done a movie that is very like a very studio driven or executive produced, overproduced thing. Like the one thing that comes to mind. Well, actually, no. I was about to say Death Proof, but that was the double feature with the Grindhouse feature he did with Robert Rodriguez, and Robert Rodriguez did Planet Terror. But that whole thing is like him having fun with Robert Rodriguez and doing an homage to old Grindhouse stuff. So that absolutely not. That was definitely something he wanted to do. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything that feels like out of his character. So I'd probably say, yeah, like maybe Quentin Tarantino, especially for his tenure making movies. Like he's been doing it for a long time, and they've been really consistently good. Maybe like the one thing maybe that I have to pick at with him is the decision to split Kill Bill into 2 volumes, which is kind of weird. Although, I guess together it would be a really long movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any part you would cut out of them to make them?
I wouldn't cut. You're right, exactly. Like I wouldn't cut a thing. And I know he does like making long movies. So that decision could have been studio driven or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's information out there about that, but yeah, that's like the only thing that like the only grievance I have with him. But yeah, faith in a director. That's a good question. I don't know. Like that's the thing. There aren't as many directors nowadays that you can quote unquote have faith in, that are consistent, that will consistently deliver something that is worth watching or up to their own standards. That people like Tim Burton is what happened, dude. I don't know. That's a different. Yeah, we've covered that. So. Okay, so that was it for questions. Yeah. So, hope you enjoyed this new weird segment. I don't know if we're going to do this consistently, but we just wanted to try something new. And let's answer an email. This is pertaining to last week's episode from Anonymous. I watched Ghosty, referring to Ghost in the Shell, and Lucy back to back. Ghosty does not hold up. The art and music is lazy and stolen. Akira, 10 years earlier. The concepts have been done 30 years earlier. Blade Runner, 1984. Is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, 1968. It's all exposition. Boring. I actually got up and did other things and missed nothing. Lucy was fine. It had my attention more than Ghosty. I'm not saying it's good. It was goofed up as hell. The drug compound... Oh, here's the interesting part of the email that I like. The drug compound is real, but it's metabolic, not neurological. And then P.S. I like your idea to tell us ahead of time which movies you'll be watching. It helps plan out my week for pod. So, thank you, Anonymous. That's interesting. That drug compound is real.
Is it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm
Let's find
Googling.
some. I'm gonna find some. We're gonna do it.
I doubt it does what it does in the movie.
No, probably not, but it's probably a thing. Anonymous said so. And Anonymous knows everything. And then pertaining to planning telling you guys ahead of time the movies. Yeah, we like to start doing that. A lot of times we just kind of choose movies off the cuff and just kind of go with whatever, and it feels last minute a lot of times, but maybe that's why we're taking a week off. But next week, our plan, if you were paying attention, picked up on our hint, we're going to be
Maybe.
doing a post-apocalyptic dystopian future. Kevin Costner. Oh God, we're watching Waterworld and the Postman.
Or there could be a twist. Other hint, hint, nudge, nudge for future pods, perhaps.
Well, for next week.
Next week.
Yeah, next week will be Kevin Costner week. So we'll set aside 18 hours to watch those movies. So they're like 9 hours apiece. And look forward to that. I know we are. I think. I guess. I don't know. Okay, so that's going to do it. Thanks, guys. Let us know if you like this segment. We might try it again when we're having a slow week. And that's going to do it. I already said that. If you have an email, suggestion, a grievance, feel free to write us. We're at I Think I Hate Movies.
That.
What?
Someone's gonna put a copyright notice on it.
I stole what? A word? I can't
You
steal
stole
a word.
If you say it for longer than 2 seconds, it's like
stealing?
a song that you stole.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get.
You gotta inflect
DM
it differently. Just like
DMCA
go a little
on this?
higher on the grieve part and then a little lower.
Grievance.
There you go.
You have a grievance. Let us know. Write in. We're at I Think I Hate Movies at gmail.com. We also have a Tumblr. If you want to be anonymous, I think we have anonymous asks on still. So you can do that. And see you next week.